The party was too loud, too chaotic. Jungkook hated being here. He hated the flashing neon lights, the sweaty bodies pressed together, and most of all, the way Kim Taehyung was looking at him from across the room. It wasn't a casual glance. It was a smirk, laced with the same amusement that had tormented Jungkook for years. "Come on, Jungkook. You can't sit out every round." Jimin, his best friend, nudged him playfully, pulling him into the center of the circle. "It's just a game." Jungkook didn't trust games, not when they involved drunk students and the school's biggest troublemakers. But before he could refuse, someone spun the empty bottle in the middle of the circle. It twirled and twirled, landing on none other than Kim Taehyung. The room went still for a moment before an excited murmur spread like wildfire. "Oh, this is gonna be good," someone whispered. "All right, Taehyung." Truth or dare? Taehyung's sharp eyes never left Jungkook's as he leaned back, lazy and confident. "Dare?" The group exploded into cheers. Everyone knew Taehyung never backed down from a challenge. Jimin, tipsy and way too enthusiastic, grinned mischievously. "Jungkook." Jungkook's breath caught. The room gasped. Taehyung's smirk widened, dark and knowing. "Easy." Jungkook's face burned. "What? No, you're not gonna back out, are you?" someone jeered. "A dare's a dare." Jungkook clenched his fists. He could back out. He should back out. But Taehyung was staring at him with that look, that teasing, smug, infuriating look that made Jungkook's blood boil. He wouldn't give him the satisfaction. "Fine," the circle whooped in excitement as Taehyung pushed himself up, stepping closer. The scent of his expensive cologne hit Jungkook first, deep, musky, intoxicating. Jungkook's heart pounded in his ears as Taehyung's hands suddenly tilted his chin up, forcing their gazes to meet. Too close. Too intense. Too much. "Relax," Taehyung murmured, voice smoother than silk. "I don't bite." Before Jungkook could snap back, Taehyung closed the distance. Soft. That was the first thing Jungkook registered. His lips were soft. Warm. Not rushed, not harsh, just a slow, deliberate press that sent an unexpected jolt down Jungkook's spine. It was supposed to be a joke, a dare, a meaningless act for their audience. Then why did Taehyung linger? Jungkook felt it, the slight press of Taehyung's fingers against his jaw, the way his breath fanned against his skin as if he didn't want to pull away. His lips were barely parted, breath stolen, body frozen in place. And then, Taehyung smirked. He pulled back slowly, eyes dark with something unreadable. Jungkook felt his stomach twist. His skin tingled where Taehyung had touched him, and worst of all, his own lips still tingled from the kiss. The room erupted into laughter and cheers, but Jungkook barely heard them. Because Kim Taehyung leaned in, close enough for only Jungkook to hear. "You look cute when you're flustered." Jungkook's breath hitched. His heart stuttered. And for the first time ever, he didn't know if he truly hated Taehyung, or if he was terrified of something much worse. Something dangerously close to wanting more. Jungkook didn't sleep that night. No matter how much he tossed and turned, his mind kept replaying the way Taehyung's lips had felt against his, the way his fingers had tilted his chin up, the teasing smirk that followed. It was just a dare. That was all. Then why couldn't he stop thinking about it? Groaning, Jungkook shoved his face into his pillow. Get a grip. By the time morning rolled around, he had one goal: avoid Taehyung at all costs. Unfortunately, The universe seemed to hate him. Jungkook stepped into the school hallway, keeping his head down, praying that he could make it through the day without a strong arm suddenly draped over his shoulders. Morning, sweetheart. Jungkook's entire body went stiff. Kim Taehyung. He didn't even need to look to know. Taehyung's voice was unmistakable, deep and smooth, dripping with amusement. Jungkook jerked away instantly, shoving his arm off. Don't call me that, Taehyung chuckled, completely unbothered. Why not? You seem to like it when I... Last night, Jungkook's face burned. I did not, Taehyung hummed, stepping in front of him, blocking his path. Oh. So you weren't leaning in a little by the end? Jungkook clenched his fists, jaw tightening. It was a dare. That's all. Taehyung's smirk didn't fade. If anything, his eyes darkened with something unreadable, something that made Jungkook's stomach twist. I know, Taehyung said, voice dropping slightly. But did it really feel like just a dare to you? Jungkook's breath hitched. For a split second, Taehyung's gaze softened, just enough to make Jungkook question everything. Then, just as quickly, the moment shattered. Relax, baby, Taehyung drawled, ruffling Jungkook's hair like he was amused by his reaction. I'm just messing with you. Jungkook shoved his hand away, his pulse racing. Stay away from me, and with that, he stormed past Taehyung, ignoring the way his heart was pounding in his chest. He could still feel Taehyung's eyes on him. And no matter how hard he tried to ignore it, he knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Jungkook was determined to ignore Taehyung. For the entire day, he kept his head down, avoided eye contact, and refused to acknowledge anything that happened the night before. But, of course, Taehyung wasn't making it easy. Everywhere Jungkook went, Taehyung was there, leaning against his locker with that infuriating smirk, brushing past him in the hallways too close on purpose, whispering way too close to his ear whenever they crossed paths. Jungkook hated it. Mostly. By the time lunch rolled around, he was exhausted. He just wanted to eat in peace, maybe pretend none of this ever happened. But as soon as he sat down, Jimin dropped onto the seat across from him, grinning way too much for Jungkook's liking. So, Jimin started, wiggling his brows. You and Taehyung, huh? Jungkook nearly choked on his drink. There is no Taehyung, Jimin snorted. Sure there isn't. That's why he's been staring at you for the past 5 minutes. Jungkook froze. Slowly, hesitantly, he glanced across the cafeteria. And sure enough, there he was. Kim Taehyung, sitting with his group of troublemakers, lazily twirling a fork between his fingers, gaze locked on Jungkook. Jungkook felt his stomach flip. Why is he looking at me? He muttered under his breath, shifting uncomfortably. Jimin smirked. Maybe he likes. Jungkook almost threw his drink at him. Shut up. Before Jimin could reply, a shadow suddenly loomed over their table. Jungkook didn't need to look up to know. Taehyung. Hey, baby, Taehyung greeted smoothly, dropping into the seat way too close beside Jungkook. Jungkook's breath hitched. Don't call me that. Taehyung ignored him. You've been avoiding me? Jungkook swallowed. I have not. Taehyung tilted his head, amused. Then look at me. Jungkook refused. He kept his eyes on his tray, heart pounding, refusing to fall for whatever stupid game Taehyung was playing, until Taehyung leaned in, his breath warm against Jungkook's ear. You're blushing, he whispered. Jungkook jerked away, face burning. I'm not. Taehyung smirked. Cute, Jungkook wanted to punch him. Jimin, meanwhile, was having the time of his life, barely holding in his laughter. Jungkook hated this. But what he hated more was the fact that Taehyung was right. His face was burning. And no matter how much he told himself otherwise, he wasn't sure if it was from anger or something else entirely. Jungkook had had enough. For days, Taehyung had been relentless, teasing him, whispering in his ear, calling him pet names, acting like that stupid dare had been anything other than a game. But the worst part? Jungkook wasn't sure if he hated it. So when Taehyung cornered him after school, pinning him against the lockers with that ever-present smirk, Jungkook snapped. "What do you want from me, Taehyung?" he demanded, his voice sharper than intended. "Wasn't the dare enough? What's your problem?" For the first time, Taehyung's expression shifted. The smirk faltered, replaced by something unreadable. "My problem?" Taehyung echoed, his voice softer. "You really don't get it, do you?" Jungkook swallowed, caught off guard by the change in his tone. "Get what?" he challenged, but the fire in his voice had dimmed. Taehyung took a step closer, trapping Jungkook against the cold metal. "I dared myself," he murmured. Jungkook blinked. "What?" Taehyung exhaled, raking a hand through his hair. "I dared myself to kill Jungkook. I wanted to." Jungkook's breath caught. No teasing. No smirking. Just raw honesty. "I've liked you for a while," Taehyung admitted, gaze steady. "I just didn't know how to tell you. And then the dare happened, and I saw the way you looked at me." Jungkook's heart was pounding. "I don't hate you," Taehyung continued, voice dropping. "I never did. But I think I might go crazy if you keep acting like that kiss meant nothing." Jungkook felt his knees go weak. It was just a dare, wasn't it? But then he thought about the way Taehyung's lips had felt, the way his heart had raced, the way he hadn't been able to stop thinking about it. And suddenly, he wasn't so sure anymore. Slowly, hesitantly, Jungkook met Taehyung's gaze. He didn't get to finish. Because in the next second, Taehyung closed the distance again. But this time, it wasn't for a dare. And this time, Jungkook didn't pull away. Instead, his hands fisted Taehyung's shirt, pulling him closer, lips parting, heart hammering, because maybe, just maybe, he had wanted this all along.